computer show. Sound Bytes. Call the show now at 966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free 800-790-0415 or soundbytes.org. Now, alongside Steve Ray and Dave Enright, here's Nick Francesco on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Good afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all the chips in the PC. It is Saturday, the 8th day of October, Anno Domini 2022, and you, you lucky people, you're listening to Sound Bytes. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And it's 6 minutes after the hour. We're going to be bringing you news, views, things to choose, nothing to lose, kick off your shoes, don't get the blues. Here comes the news. Ta-da. At this year's Made by Google event, there weren't many surprises thanks to an abundance of leaks, but there's still plenty to dig into. Google unveiled the Pixel 7, Pixel 7 Pro, a new Pixel Watch, and a new Pixel tablet. Not to be outdone by Apple's recent iPhone 14 event, Google's Pixel 7 event showcased new features driven by the powerful second-generation Tensor chip, health and fitness tracking, and customization galore. With the latest announcements, Google is once again setting the bar high for and with Android phones. The Pixel 7 has a 6.3-inch display, brought back facial recognition as an additional unlocking mechanism, and improved the AI-driven capabilities thanks to Google's G2 Tensor chip. That includes visual menu options for dealing with automated call systems, voice-recognized emoji suggestions, and voice messaging transcription directly in Google's Messages app. New camera features include photo unblur for actually unblurring old photos. So photos you took 10 years ago.
Yeah. Sharpen them up.
Guided frame via voice assist for people who are blind or low vision. And cinematic blur, which adds a sleek, shallow depth of field look to videos. The Pixel 7 comes in 3 colors: snow, obsidian, and a new soothing pale green color called lemongrass. It starts at $600 and is available for pre-order right now. The Pixel 7 Pro has a 6.7-inch display, face unlock, the same G2 sensor. I don't know why I have trouble with this.
Did you just say 6 or is that the 7?
It's a 7.
Oh, because you said 6.
Did I? No,
Yeah.
Pixel 7 Pro has a 6.7-inch
Okay.
display and the same G2 tensor-driven text-speech features and camera mode updates as the Pixel 7. What really sets the 7 Pro apart from the 7 is that camera. The Pixel 7 Pro has a 30x telephoto lens paired with technology that makes even fully zoomed-in photos look crisp. The 7 Pro also has something called macro focus, which allows you to take extreme close-ups with HDR plus quality for rich photo detail. The Pixel Pro comes in snow, obsidian, and hazel colors, and starts at $900. It's available for pre-order immediately as well. Falling in line with the current smartwatch wearables trend, the Pixel Watch has new health tracking features which include a heart rate sensor, ECG monitoring, and sleep tracking. It also comes 3 months with 3 months of YouTube Premium and 6 months of Fitbit Premium, so you can work out to your heart's content and then crash on the couch and watch TV. A new Pixel tablet's coming in 2023. It won't be out until then, so we didn't get details on price or release date, but Google did share some details on the hardware itself. The Pixel tablet will have the same G2 Tensor chip that powers the Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro, and will work with a speaker dock that is also a charging station. It's pretty cool looking. The keynote focused on the Pixel tablet's versatility as a smart home manager and creativity tool, so we can probably expect features related to those capabilities when more information is announced next year. So our poll of the week at soundbytes.org. That is Bytes with a Y, Francis would like us to remind you, is Google's new products. And your choices are, I gotta have them all. Some of them look like must-haves. Some of it interests me. Goo what now? And of course, other. So far we have 18 votes. He's in the lead.
Really?
Followed by some of it interests me. And of course, you may have more to say about this, or more to say against this. And it's easy enough to do. Just head on over to our website at soundbytes.org. That's Bytes with a Y. Francis would like us to remind you. Scroll down on the right under Fascinating Stuff. You'll see the forums. Second forum down is a poll discussion. Currently, at least, the number one item under poll discussion is 8 October 22, Google's new products. And of course, you can give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free 1-800-790-0415.
So that should be driving down the price of the 6s.
Yeah, 6s will come down, 6 Pros, 6A. 7A should be coming out sometime next year. That's the one I'm looking forward to. So yeah,
which one do you have right now?
I have the 5A.
Okay. Because I still have the 3A, and right now they're offering $150 if I turn in my 3A and upgrade to the 7. But I don't want the 7. I want the 7A.
Right, me too.
It's cheaper, and for what it is, it's a phone.
If it still has the G2 tensor chip, that's the one I'm going to want.
Yeah.
They did. My favorite part was they just got really salty at one point, and they just mentioned, and of course, something along the lines of, and of course, we still have crash detection, which we've had since the Pixel 3.
Well, yeah.
And then they just went on. I mentioned I've had that on my phone forever. And it used to worry me because I tend to, when I've got my phone in my hand, I toss it. Like if I'm in the bedroom and I'm getting dressed, but I've had the phone in my hand, I toss it down on the bed.
Yeah.
Or, whatever. And I worried that was going to set it off. But the crash detection is better than that. It's not just a little jar. It's going to have to be a pretty big hit.
Sudden.
Yeah. So there was that. So again, you can give us a call, and these numbers are super important today. 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free 1-800-790-0415. Why are they super important today? Because it is pledge time. That's right. We are in a pledge drive, and that's important for us. We've talked about this ad nauseum. I know you're tired of hearing it, but you know what? Get over it. We do this twice a year. The rest of the time, we never mention it. But the reality is that because we are member driven, we need our members to step up. You're all part of the Soundbytes family. Because you listen to the show, you go in the forums, you show up in the lounge on Sunday nights. And as part of the family, every once in a while we come to you and say, you know what, it's time. It's time to play. And this is it. As you go to the website, you're all computer geeks to begin with. Head on over to jazz901.org, hit the Donate Now button, and donate there. It's the easiest, fastest, simplest way. Michael Oden is on the phones for us today, and he's a wonderful human being, but I know many of you don't like to talk to people. I get that. So you
to our website.
You can do it online.
Yeah,
and
go to the website.
There's lots of things that you can do. We have some new benefits. What do you call them? They're not prizes. They're
tchotchkes.
Member benefit. Yeah, member benefits.
Member benefits. We have, of course, the coffee mugs, the hoodie, the T-shirt, all that stuff with the mouse pad with our logo on it. But this year they've also added a wireless charger. So you can now get a wireless charger with the Soundbytes logo on it to charge your phone wirelessly. It's very cool.
Yeah, we
by
got
the
the
way,
mouse
and it
pad.
sits there on your desk. You get that. You get the mouse pad. You get the shirt. You get the hoodie. You get the USB drive. You get all of that stuff. And we got one? No, we don't. No, thank you. Yes, I see what you're here for. So now we have lots of membership levels. So I'm going to talk about those membership levels, but don't let them intimidate you. There are lots of you out there who are currently not capable of giving as much as you'd like. I understand that. Every single penny counts. And that's a cliche, but it's also entirely true.
Yeah.
So our levels start at $35. There's a 35, a 50, a 90, 10, the 120. Hey, nice shirt level. The $150, the $200, and the $365 a day level. And of course, the $500 level, somebody will come to your house and mow your lawn. That may be you, but somebody will at some point.
Rob said he's going to do that?
No, he didn't. No, he did not.
He didn't know he was going to do that.
He didn't know he was going to do it. He didn't say he was going to do
okay.
it.
We'll keep that under wraps.
But when you hit something like the $90.10 level, get it? 90-10, get it? You get the enhanced member card. That is an amazing
that is so
benefit.
cool. Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. There's so many places on it. It's hard. It's food. It's art. It's places to stay. It's a little bit of everything. Wineries, yeah, all kinds of stuff. And you get, honestly, you'll make back that 90-10 in just a few trips out.
And the thing of it is, though, even though, you might see the list right now, the cool thing is periodically you got to keep checking back because Rob and Derek and the rest of the crew are always looking to get other sponsors added onto that card.
Right.
And the list will keep growing and growing because even though you see the back of the card, it's got a lot of numbers on it. Not all of them are full. So that allows them to go around to other places and say, hey, we'd like to offer this for, and you be part of our card. And they say, yeah. So each month they're updating it and getting more benefits for you.
Yeah, there's just a lot going on. And at the $120 level, you get 2 cards. So you don't have to fight
with
your significant other.
Well, the other thing, though, is, too, you find a great restaurant you like, and you'd like to go back there. So if I used my card, the next time it could be on my wife's card.
Right.
So we can double the, down on getting a great meal, great evening out, and a great price on a meal.
Right. And at that 90-10 sponsorship level, it's only a quarter a day. For heaven's sake. What else can you get for a quarter a day these days?
Not coffee.
Right. So at the $90.10 level, you get 1 of the enhanced member cards. Plus, you can get either the Jazz 90.1 blue or white and tan tote bag, or the Jazz 90.1 baseball cap, or the Bytes ceramic coffee mug, which is stunning,
Yes.
by the way. Or you can get that new USB charger, the Bytes charger, wireless charger. Just at the $90.10 level. That's excellent. So you can do that there. At the $120 level, you get 2 member cards plus the T-shirt, the Bytes T-shirt. The $150 level, you get 2 member cards plus the pullover hoodie or the wireless charger. And it goes on and on. But you'll see those on the website. And if you just go to soundbites.org, no, excuse me, I beg your pardon. If you go to jazz90.1.org and jazz901, cheese and crackers, it's like I've never done this before. You go to jazz901.org, jazz901.org. I'll say it again. For me, jazz901.org.
It's just the first day of the drive for us, so we got to get into the rhythm of doing this.
Right.
And which only it will encourage folks, hopefully, to get on the phone, make the pledge, so we can stop doing this and just do what we normally do is take questions.
Right. And there's a big red Donate Now button. Hard to miss. Mm-hmm. Click on that. Scroll down, fill out the form, go down, make sure you're selecting Soundbites as the recipient, and I'm telling you, look, this show would not be on the air if it weren't for you people, and we've always said that no matter where our home was, because it's you people who call in and make this show happen. But on this station, there's a double hit to that. You people are the ones who keep this station and therefore this show on the air.
Yeah, it's a whole ball of wax.
Exactly. Without you, quite literally, we would not exist. That's a simple fact of life. And so we appreciate each and every one of you who has both the wherewithal and the generosity to make a pledge and keep this station alive. And again, there's two ways to do it. You can give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Or toll free at 1-800-790-0415. Or better for everybody and faster for you, whether you're on your desktop, your laptop, your tablet, or your phone, head on over to jazz901.org. Hit that red Donate Now button and pledge online. Look, we all know that everyone who donates to this station is smarter, sexier, happier, and has brighter and whiter teeth than everybody else. Or at least I personally believe that. But also, you know how much you and everybody detests these pledge breaks. The faster we pledge, the quicker the break. The faster we pledge, the quicker the break. So if you make that pledge now, early, now, maybe the pledge drive is a little shorter. Maybe not. I don't, it depends on who pledges when. But do your part. You can do that. You can make that happen. Head on over to jazz901.org and make that pledge.
One other thing, you happen to mention it going back just a little bit, is jazz stations. Over the past 10 years, we have seen the number of true jazz stations all across the U.S. disappear.
Right.
Because they didn't have the support of the people. They just shut the station down, they're gone. So all the folks that enjoy jazz music, say even at work, if you've got it in the background, just a soothing music, or just a, like they say, white noise, all of a sudden it's silent. And then you've got to go around trying to find some of these, whether it's a rap or whatever, different stations. And it's like, I miss my jazz. Well, if folks don't pick up the phones and give the call, that could happen to us. Because that's just the reality. It's your dollars that keep the doors open and the lights on and this station up and running.
Right.
I mean, it's not like we get paid a high salary. I haven't seen a paycheck yet.
You haven't?
Nope.
Well, I have. Oh, wait. I haven't either.
All right.
What?
I think a lot of the DJs here,
Right.
That's what a lot of folks don't realize, A lot of us volunteer our time. The three of us are here every Saturday for you, taking your computer questions. We don't get a dime for it. We enjoy what we do, or we wouldn't be doing it for the past 33 years. Going on 34.
Right.
Because we like helping people. We have fun doing it, and I know you folks enjoy listening to it because it's not always serious, and we don't talk down to folks. We have fun with it, and that's what computing should be, is fun. If it's not fun for you, then you're doing something wrong, and give us a call, and we'll try to straighten you out on it.
That's right.
And open other doors. As the technology has changed, I mean, back in the day when we started with 286s, all the way up to the Pentiums now and the laptops and all the different operating systems that we have gone through and worked through your issues. We've kept up with that. And that takes time out of our own personal lives.
Right.
And in families.
Right. And now we're doing Raspberry Pis. We're talking about phones and tablets. I mean,
and different operating systems like Unix and Linux and Chrome for Chromebooks and
Chrome OS Flex.
Yeah.
So all we're asking is that you be part of the family the way it needs to be done. You folks truly are our family, and we need you to step up. make the call, make the pledge. You can talk to Michael at 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free 1-800-790-0415. Or, of course, easier for everybody, pledge online at jazz901.org. And I would be remiss if we did not talk about Jazzomatic.
Oh, yes.
Because Jazzomatic is the single coolest thing when it comes to pledging. For a mere, the lowest limit is $10 a month. For $10 a month, you then pledge, say, $120 a year, $10 a month, and we take $10 a month, which is a small bite, instead of having to say, here's $120.
Yeah, might not have it this week.
But you can afford $10 a month. That's not even 2 cups of coffee.
Yeah.
So you can afford $10 a month, and that puts you at the $120 level, right? So think about that, right?
Yeah.
So you can give $10 a month, you can give 15, you can give 20, you can give whatever you can afford. But the point is, it adds up, and then we take it out, and at the end of that year, we stop. It doesn't continue.
Without your permission.
Without your permission. If you want it to continue, you call up and make another Jazzomatic pledge. And that helps us as a station figure out what we can afford to do throughout a year. You've seen some of the things that we can do. Much of it is based on volunteers. The various jazz events that happen throughout the Greece Central thing and the stuff that they do all year long. That's all volunteers. The jazz cruises, are funded and paid for, but it happens, and all of that contributes to the station. But what really contributes is you. It is your funding that gives us the ability to come here every week. And if you're tired of sound bites, and if you don't want us to be on the air anymore, turn off your radio and don't pledge.
That's just not an option. We have to be on the air.
We have to be on the air, and you have to pledge. So make that call, make that pledge, 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free 1-800-790-0415. Or, best of all, pledge online at jazz901.org. We got a couple of minutes before the break. We can talk to Rylan from Rochester, New York. What's up?
In the crew. Thank you guys for still being here. Haven't listened in many, many years. And I have a question. I am looking to buy 2 different laptops. One, a MacBook, and one, a Chromebook. And my wife is looking for the Chromebook, and I haven't kept up with changes on Chromebooks over the years, and I'm just kind of trying to find are these specs good that I'm looking at? Is that something that I can ask you guys?
Well, as far as the specs on a Chromebook, it's what you can afford. I mean, more memory is always good. As far as that, you're not going to get a lot of disk space. That's just the fact of life with the Chromebooks. Right. But because everything is cloud-based, you're doing some work and some programs on it, but for the most part, everything is being done up in the cloud. That's the beauty of it. You can do documents and everything else right up in the cloud.
If you are looking to do the full spectrum of things that you can do on a Chromebook, run Chrome apps, run Android apps, and run Linux, then you want at least 8 gig of RAM, and you want a fairly fast processor, and 32 gig of disk space. We're going to take a quick break. Stay on the line. We'll get back to you in just a couple of minutes. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a few minutes with Dave Enright, with Steve Ray, with Rylan from Rochester, and me, Nick Francesco, and all of you. It is 30 minutes after the hour. You're listening to the longest-running computer show in the known universe, Soundbites, right here on the truly great and truly member-supported Jazz 90.1. Make that call, make that pledge. While we're on break, we'll be right back.
Computer talk you can understand. More Soundbites is next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
NBC News Radio, I'm Dina Kodiak. A key Russian bridge linking Crimea with the mainland is heavily damaged after a massive explosion today. Officials in Moscow say they don't know who may be responsible for the powerful blast. A top advisor to Ukrainian President Zelensky praised the bombing in a tweet but made no claim of responsibility. A war of words is escalating between the mayor of New York and the governor of Texas. Michael Kastner reports.
Governor Greg Abbott's office says New York City Mayor Eric Adams is an absolute hypocrite for declaring a state of emergency over 3,000 migrants that were bussed in from Texas to a sanctuary city with over 8 million people. In response, New York City Hall said Abbott's lying about his role in sending migrants to New York.
Our right to shelter laws, our social services, and our values are being exploited.
He called Abbott untrustworthy.
Thousands are gathering around the country today to take part in the Women's March. Organizers say it's a day of action to urge supporters to cast ballots for pro-choice candidates. Dina Kodiak, NBC News Radio.
Snakes are taking "you are what you eat" literally. This is Sandra Tsinglo with the Lowdown on Science. The effects of snake venom can range from harmless to deadly. But why not a one-size-fits-all approach, or one bite, as it were? Kevin Healy from the National University of Ireland, Galway, collected snake bite stats on over 100 snake species. He compared the amount of venom per bite, snake size, and prey size. Most importantly, Healy looked at the different types of prey the snakes ate. Testing venom against lab mice isn't always accurate. Snakes eat other animals, too. Based on the data, Healy thinks that snake venoms have evolved to be prey-specific. For example, sea snake venom isn't lethal to mice, but it is for fish. Habitat and prey abundance may also play a factor. Snakes with fewer food choices may store larger toxic doses to ensure a kill. Healy's findings may help predict if any still untested venoms are lethal. As for me, how about a donut-specific venom? Just asking.
The Lowdown on Science is produced by LDOS Media Lab in partnership with the University of California Irvine Science Communication and 89.3 KPCC, and made possible with the generous support of the Fuse Family Foundation. On the web at LOHDOWNonscience.org.
Official WGMC contest rules are available online at www.jazz901.org.
What if you were wearing something sexy? What if you were drinking? What if you made the first move? No matter what, sexual assault is never your fault. Support is available 24/7 through the National Sexual Assault Hotline. Call 1-800-656-HOPE or visit RAINN.org. That's RAINN.org. This is Christina Ricci with RAINN, reminding you it's never your fault.
Brought to you by RAINN and this station.
As a veteran, you get a lot of advice, but wisdom's harder to come by. A lot of people imagine themselves in our shoes, without understanding the weight on our shoulders. The truth is, few can understand the pressure of finding your own way after serving in the military. But few isn't none. Steady yourself. You're not alone. You've got support. Learn more at maketheconnection.net.
Are you thinking of adding a pet to your family? Greece Residents Assisting Stray Pets, or GRASP, is committed to reducing the number of homeless pets by placing dogs and cats into compatible, loving, permanent homes. For more information on how you can give a homeless pet a second chance through adoption, visit graspinc.org. GRASP, striving for the day when every dog and cat will live in a loving, safe, and healthy home.
Here's the latest Jazz 90.1 weather forecast.
Quintessential fall for all of western New York and the Finger Lakes this weekend, with temperatures well below average. The month of October so far averaging nearly 6 degrees below normal each day for Rochester. Lake-induced clouds early in the day will give way to increasing amounts of sunshine for your Saturday. The high temperature only into the low 50s. We'll look for patchy clouds and starlight for Saturday night. The overnight low temperature into the upper 30s south of the Thruway, low 40s Rochester. Mostly sunny Sunday, highs in the upper 50s. I'm meteorologist Josh Nichols for Jazz 90.1.
And currently right now we've got overcast skies, 46 degrees out at the airport and 49 here at member-supported Jazz 90.1. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco. I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And at 35 minutes after the hour, we are Sound Bytes, and we still have Ryland on the line. You there, Ryland?
I am.
Okay, so here's the thing. We already talked a little bit about what a Chromebook can do. Depending on what you're going to do, you'll want up to 8 gigs of RAM and up to 32 gigs of disk storage. Most of the storage happens on the cloud, so you don't have to worry about that, particularly if you're using Google Drive. Everything's stored up there anyway. If you are in a place where you don't have connectivity, you can still do all your work. And when you do get connectivity the next time, it magically all gets mirrored up into the web. So that all works fine. Now, as for a MacBook, Steve will talk about that.
So Apple has an interesting strategy with their MacBooks. They basically, as you get more expensive, they get faster. It's been a criticism of Apple for a long time that they don't make a big screen, slow computer to be cheap. Well, no, not really. So you can start at $999 for the MacBook Air, and works really great. You can go up to MacBook Pro, has a little more power with the M1 Pro processor. And then the 16-inch, with an M1 Max is the most power. So if you're just doing regular web and email and photos, the MacBook Air is a great, inexpensive Mac model for you. If you're going to do more complex things or get into like first-person shooter games, then you may want to go to the bigger screen. I went with the 14-inch myself with an M1 Pro because I do lots of video streaming. Multi-camera video streaming.
Yeah. Case in point, you're soaking in it.
I'm soaking in it now, yeah. And the big difference in the Macs is the storage space. And if all you're doing is regular word processing documents, 256 gigs is enough. If you think you're going to be doing a lot of photos or especially video, then you can move up to a 512 or even 1 terabyte drive.
Yeah, so I thank you for everything. It's going to be music recording, production, and I'm looking at refurbished on like Mac of all trades.
You have to be a little careful with refurbished computers, especially if it's not an Apple refurbish. Factory refurbishment usually is a little safer, but you never know why it's refurbished. Did someone buy it and not like it and return it, so then we can't sell it as new? Or did someone buy it, have tons of problems with it, and returned it?
Yeah.
And you never know what you're going to get when you get a refurbished computer. Now, for us, since we work on computers ourselves, it's probably safe to buy a refurbished computer, and Nick always does.
Right, I always do.
Because we know how we can work on them, we can repair them when there's problems. But for the general public, you want to make sure that it's a trustworthy company. Check their ratings and reviews. See what the warranty is on them, and even check Apple's refurbished line too, because you can get factory refurbished previous generation models at a discount as well from Apple. In fact, I can post that link. A lot of people don't realize that Apple sells their own refurbished. Most of Apple's refurbished computers are from their show floors.
Right.
So that they were out showing this model, now that model's gone, we got to show the next model.
With refurbished computers, the single most important thing is the warranty.
And even sometimes then, the warranty's great, but if it goes into the shop every couple of weeks, because there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And, of course, with a MacBook, you have to be even more careful because there isn't a lot of user repairable stuff that you can do on a Mac.
And sometimes that can be a good thing because if anything goes wrong with it, it's the logic board. which can make an expensive repair, but it helps in diagnostics.
And it's a quick repair. You just replace the motherboard. We're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Mac of all trades, it has, a stellar triple B, ratings, and I did some research, so thank you for those tips.
Yeah, I've seen them come up in my searches, but I've never looked into them directly myself.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate the answers.
Sure.
Thanks. Have fun.
All right.
Bye-bye.
One of the interesting things about third-party refurbishment is since Apple makes pretty much all the components, if someone gets a broken laptop, because one of the places you get refurbishments from says you buy lots of machines that come out of a company, and we take this broken one that has a broken screen and this broken one that has a broken logic board, we put it together, we get one good one. They're pretty much all Apple parts.
Right.
Yeah, storage drives and memory are about the only things that are generic.
Could you say it's apples to apples?
Yeah. You can compare apples to apples.
Get out now.
I couldn't resist that one.
And
you should have.
One of the issues we're seeing now is that you have to be a little, I don't know, careful is the right word or not. When you're buying a refurbished computer,
cautious.
Thank you. A brand new MacBook Air, like I said, is $999 with the M1 processor in it, or $1199 with an M2, which is even faster yet. They are so much faster than their Intel counterparts that it may not be worth saving the $200-300 if it's going to be half as fast as a brand new machine. Mm-hmm. Because of the way Apple is designing their chips, the SoC, the CPU, the GPU, the RAM, the storage are basically on one chip.
That's why it's called System on a Chip, or SoC.
SoC. They are really, really fast. So when the CPU needs to fetch data, it doesn't have to go out to the RAM bus, which is generally much slower, and then pull RAM in, and then out to the storage bus, which is ridiculously slow compared to the chip speed. Everything is built into that one chip, so it's really, really, really fast. But then on the other side, it does mean if anything goes wrong, it's one chip.
It's one chip.
So it's an easy repair. You replace that one component, and that's everything.
Right. I did. You're gonna love this story. I'm gonna tell this story. We usually hear stories about Apple Watches saving people's lives by calling 911 or alerting to potential heart issues, but recently there's been a report of an Apple Watch exploding. According to reports, the user explained that he was wearing it when he noticed that it was getting much hotter than usual. He then found that the back of the Apple Watch had cracked and watchOS was showing a warning about needing to shut down due to its temperature. For further context, this user was in his house where the temperature was just over 70 degrees Fahrenheit. After this, the Apple Watch user said that he immediately called Apple support to explain the situation. The call was escalated through multiple levels of Apple support hierarchy, ultimately landing in the hands of a manager who created a case for further investigation. There was no solution or advice provided after this call, just instructions to not touch the watch until he heard back from the company. The following morning, however, the situation escalated even further. The Apple Watch user woke up to find the Apple Watch even hotter to the touch, and the heat had shattered the device's display. When the user picked up the Apple Watch to take pictures to send to Apple, it started to immediately make crackling sounds. It then, and I quote, exploded, end quote. Just as he was throwing it out the window, the watch left burn marks on the user's couch. He also ended up visiting the emergency room because of lead poisoning concerns. But it's important to remember the Apple Watch does not actually contain enough lead to actually cause lead poisoning. He was simply concerned about it, and he should have been better safe than sorry. He then reached out to Apple again to give an update on the situation. He was told that the case would be a top priority, and he would receive an update by the following Monday. But it wasn't until Wednesday that he heard back from Apple. The company arranged a delivery pickup and said that it is taking the Apple Watch to its labs for further testing. This is likely a fluke, but you should probably pay attention to how hot your Apple Watch gets and your not Apple Watch.
Yeah,
any of these things.
Any lithium battery.
Yeah. Right. So how's your Apple Watch? Give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ. It's 966-5299, toll free, 1-800-790-0415.
We basically call that a thermal runaway.
Yeah. And it happens, and as Steve said, it's really about, it's not the Apple Watch. It's the lithium-ion battery in that particular watch. It may have been damaged in manufacture. It may have been damaged in shipping.
And dropped from too high a height too many
Right.
times.
Whatever it is, we all know that lithium-ion batteries are subject to what Steve referred to as thermal runaway or exploding, and so or catching on fire at least.
Yeah, it's doesn't meet the ATF definition of explode.
Right.
It swells up. It emits a non-toxic gas.
Right.
But it's pretty scary. We run into this a lot in the RC world, where we have lithium charging bags that you keep your batteries in while you're charging it. I just read a story. Someone had posted that we're used to that with the planes and the cars' batteries themselves. He was charging his transmitter battery, which is a little tiny thing.
Yeah.
And in the garage, and left it alone. So there's your first thing. Never leave a charging battery alone.
Right.
That
includes your phones, your laptops, everything, by the way.
So he was charging a very small lithium battery in his garage and had a runaway. It caught fire. It melted the transmitter, melted the table it was sitting on, and caused a fire in the garage. They were able to put it out before it got to the house, which is good. But he just wanted to remind people, even little batteries can have problems. In fact, at our club picnic last week, thank you for running the show without me.
It was difficult, but we...
Yeah. Somebody had a thermal runaway, and one of their batteries started swelling. So we went off into the empty space, and he punctured it.
Wow.
Whoa.
And huge clouds of white smoke coming out of it. Everybody was mad that they didn't say they were going to do that so we could all go watch.
Yeah.
Because we all went running when we saw the smoke, but we wanted to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
So just left over now is I can't post it to the so that's what was left after the batteries.
Wow. Just a charred lump of charcoal.
Yeah, there it is. So it was a 6-cell battery, so it had a lot of energy in it.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I asked them if that ground was bare when they started. Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Because you don't want to catch the grass on fire.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Tom from Brighton, New York. What's up, Tom?
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon. I've got an iPhone 13. Most of the time, the Face ID works just fine. But every so often, it doesn't. And the only way to get in is to enter my 4-digit code. And the only way to get when it's not working, I got to basically turn the phone off and on again, and then enter the code. So, what's causing that?
Stop wearing the Groucho glasses.
Well, that's good idea.
So one of the things that the Face ID does is every time you use it, it compares to what it has stored in the secure enclave from the training mode. And if it doesn't match with enough parameters, then it brings up the passcode lock for you. What you can do is go into the settings under Face ID, remove the saved face, and retrain it. Sometimes it's not as much with men, but with women, they've changed their hairstyle
or makeup
style. Right.
Men grow beards.
Men grow beards. These glasses versus those glasses. Don't wear sunglasses because then it can't see your eyes. So oftentimes it's erring on the side of caution. We want a 99% match. Well, this was only 97%. I better make him put his passcode in.
Yep.
So deleting that face. Same thing with fingerprints. If you have a fingerprint reader, similar things can happen, and that you can delete the saved fingerprint and retrain it with your new fingerprint or your new Face ID.
With my phone, I can train multiple fingerprints.
Yes.
Can you train multiple faces?
I don't remember. I don't have a Face ID phone. I haven't checked.
So if you can do that, you can do an unshaven with sunglasses. I mean, you could train it to 5 different quote unquote people who are all you.
Yeah, it looks like you can. So my concern would be that is it mixing the multiple faces together,
right?
And creating a single
or is
map.
each one for a separate
right
ID?
Because there have been when Face ID first came out, there were a lot of cases where identical twins can unlock each other's phones. Well, of course,
or a picture of somebody,
a picture of someone that isn't as common anymore.
Because of what they've done for erring on the side of caution.
Right, and because of the sensors are now doing a 3D map and a thermal map. So it can't be a cold two-dimensional face, picture of a face.
And that could have something to do with Tom's problem as well. If, for example, you try to unlock it outside on a cold day, it may think you're below the threshold of flesh.
Yeah. So in the Face ID settings, the command is set up an alternate appearance.
There you go.
So yeah, you can have a scarf and a woolly hat on for winter.
So I'm trying. Sorry, Tom, you were trying to say something. Go ahead.
Or maybe a Groucho pair of glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, talking about that though, you might have your glasses on, inside, but if you go outside and it's cold in that because they're steaming up, you might take your glasses off,
right,
and try to get a phone call. You'd want it to be able to recognize you without the glasses.
Right.
I can understand that. In my case, though, really, my facial appearance does not change. I don't have facial hair, and most of these occurrences occur indoors anyway. But I can still see something happening that might cause that.
Well, yes, and it could also be lighting.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you're, for example, if you took it in bright light, and now you're trying to unlock it with a light source that's only on one side, so half your face is shadowed.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Well, eventually I get in, so it's not like it's a deal breaker. But maybe I should just try retraining it again and give it another go.
Yeah, give it those alternate appearances. Like if you're because I know when I'm sitting in a certain place, for example, reading or watching television, I have a light over my left shoulder, and that puts the right half of my face in shadow. So if I had trained my phone in full light and then tried to unlock it with half my face in shadow, I suspect it would not recognize me.
Yeah. Okay, I'll try that.
All right, good luck.
Good. Take care. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
I've run into so many people who don't want either Face ID or Touch ID. They just want to pick up their phone and use it. And
can't you turn that stuff off?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But then anyone can pick up your phone and use it.
Well, exactly.
And that's what they don't quite understand. Well, I'm never around anyone. Well, you're in a store now. If you set your phone down, anyone else in this store could pick it up and get into it and send an email as you buy something on your account if you don't have any secondary passwords set up. So it's important to have a passcode.
Yeah, it is. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is not that.
Oop, sorry.
Fred, call back. Sorry about that. I don't know why it didn't transfer. Here he is. Fred, let's try this again.
All right, we're getting Fred back on the line.
Dave's getting old, and sometimes he just loses it. It's Uncle Dave, and he's fallen asleep in the middle of trying to do something, and we can slap him awake again, but that's it. Hi, Fred. What's up?
Hey, finally getting through to you.
Yep.
Couple of things. Last week, a gentleman talked about his Ask Nick newsletter.
Yeah.
Mine always shows up in promotions, so it may be that, if he's listening now, look in the other folders of your email.
Yeah, junk folder. And then Google has this promotions and social that try to keep things out of your inbox. So that means you can't find them.
Right. Yeah, there's the problem is and if you don't mind, Fred, I'll spend a moment explaining how I'm making money these days. When my newsletter stopped being in the newspaper, when my column stopped being in the newspaper, I transitioned it to a newsletter. So once a week on Sundays, just like it was in the paper, I put out my newsletter, and I charge $25 a year for that. And you get that newsletter every week. And some people are finding that it's in the trash. Some people are finding that it's in promotion. Some people are finding it's right where they expect it to be. I have no control over any of that. That depends entirely on 100 other factors, like what mail client you're using, what mail system you're using, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, you're right, Fred. Thanks.
Yeah, so the other thing that, another thing, because I eventually got a question about P-Cloud, but The WGMC app keeps telling me that there's new content available. Do you want to update now? I hit yes, and the app crashes. So I don't know where that's coming from.
Go into the app store and make sure you have the latest app version installed too.
Yep, went through all my updates of everything.
Are you on a Mac or you're on an iPhone or an Android phone?
I'm on an Android phone. And if I just say not now, it goes like everything else. But you get that little window that comes up that says new content available. Do you want to update now? And if I select yes, it just goes blank. The app crashes.
You can try deleting the app and then downloading it again.
No, I hadn't done that, but that's an option.
Yeah, give that a try. Because I just updated mine and it was fine. So I don't... There is new update available. What, does it crash? Or does it just go away and update in the background?
It goes blank. It goes back to home screen. And if I open the app again and try it again, about the third time I do it says, this app keeps crashing. What do you want to do?
Interesting. Yeah. I don't honestly.
Well, I just thought I'd let you know that, and maybe there's something on the system-wide that needs to be.
Yeah, if other people are having the same issue, it could be system-wide. But
Well,
I'd try.
In fact, I just had the same issue.
Huh?
Okay, that's interesting.
So the app vendor may need to update the app. Did a new Android OS update just come out?
Yeah, it did. That's
probably why. Sometimes those updates can break other programs, which is annoying.
And mine hasn't updated since for months ago anyway.
Yeah. I just said yes to mine, and I'm letting it sit for a while to see if the update takes time. So.
Yeah, I did that, and come back a half hour later, and it still came back with the same window and saying, "Do you want to update now?" Or do you want to? Yeah.
Interesting thought. Thanks. We'll look into that.
So the question that I had on pCloud is there an autosave? And I know you talked about some software, third-party software last week. Is there a way to auto-save other than just photos? Because my pCloud account will do photos and videos automatically.
Right.
If I go to pCloud and upload a folder, I can't upload the whole folder. I can only upload a file at a time. I tried doing multiple files, and it appears nothing happened, or maybe it's just going to take a while to complete. But there's no auto save or auto update or no auto function for automatically uploading files other than video and pictures.
Well, yes and no. You can set up pCloud to automatically back up any folder and multiple folders. So you can set up pCloud, as I did. I automatically back up documents, photos, and a couple of other things.
Can I do that from my phone? Or do I have to go onto a desktop?
I believe you have to set it up on the desktop.
Okay, that might be the next step then. Okay, because I'm doing everything off of my phone these days. So.
Right. I believe you have to set it up on your phone. And when you save something, when you do something that isn't a photo or whatever on pCloud, are you saving it? Where are you saving it?
I have similar folders. I still need to organize better, but I've got similar folders on pCloud account that I have on my phone. So I copy them, mostly one at a time. But I've gotten behind in doing that, and I thought, boy, it would be a nice way if I could just hit a bunch of them at once. But it doesn't seem to be doing anything.
Right. I honestly don't know, as I haven't done anything special on my phone. But you should be able to set, if you open up pCloud itself, you should be able to set it up pretty much the same way.
Yeah, I don't have that option. I can't find that. I went through select all the different things and didn't have that option for at least on my Android phone.
Right. I'll take a look at that, but I don't off the top of my head, no.
If you had a third-party software that would do that.
Everything I do on my phone, I do in Google Drive, so I don't worry about that. But
yeah, Google Drive works fine. I just I've got a lot more. I've got a secondary. I use pCloud as a secondary backup.
Right.
The interesting thing, in addition to that Google Drive, is my Google account is old enough that I still have 100 gigabytes of storage available.
Right.
On that one, and I had to create a new one.
Right. Listen, we got to take a break. Do you want to stay on the line, or you want to hang up?
I'll hang on.
Okay, stay on the line. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. That music tells us that we are in the process of having a break. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with Dave Enright, Steve Ray, me, Nick Francesco, Fred from Rochester, and you. It is 1 minute past the hour, and you are listening to the longest-running computer show in the known universe. That would be Sound Bytes, right here on the Truly Great, and truly grateful to you because it is with your generous support, which I hope you're making that call and making that pledge, because that's how we stay on the air, because we are member-supported Jazz 90.1. Take that quick bio break, enjoy a little relaxation, but then come on back for another hour of Sound Bytes. We'll see you on the other side.
Online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at soundbytes.org. More with Nick Francesco, Dave Enright, and Steve Ray next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
WGMC Greece Rochester, a public service of the Greece Central School District, Jazz 90.1.
Online at jazz901.org.
NBC News Radio, I'm Dina Kodiak. A key Russian bridge linking Crimea with the mainland is heavily damaged after a massive explosion today. Officials in Moscow say they don't know who may be responsible for the powerful blast. A top advisor to Ukrainian President Zelensky praised the bombing in a tweet but made no claim of responsibility. A war of words is escalating between the mayor of New York and the governor of Texas. Michael Kastner reports.
Governor Greg Abbott's office says New York City Mayor Eric Adams is an absolute hypocrite for declaring a state of emergency over 3,000 migrants that were bussed in from Texas to a sanctuary city with over 8 million people. In response, New York City Hall said Abbott's lying about his role in sending migrants to New York.
Our right to shelter laws, our social services, and our values are being exploited.
He called Abbott untrustworthy.
Thousands are gathering around the country today to take part in the Women's March. Organizers say it's a day of action to urge supporters to cast ballots for pro-choice candidates. Dina Kodiak, NBC News Radio.
Jazz 90.1 and Greece Baptist Church are again pleased to present free community jazz and big band concerts this year. These performances will take place at Greece Baptist Church in their sanctuary located at 1230 Long Pond Road. There's plenty of parking, and the church is handicap accessible. Bring your family and friends and enjoy great free community jazz concerts this year. For more information, including a full series lineup, visit our website, jazz901.org.
Young or old, black or white, or anything in between. From employees to entrepreneurs, doctors to detectives, some things define us and set us apart, but there's one thing that binds us. Before anything, we are one thing. Born to be Americans, proud to be Americans. Our United States are our united fates. Know your Constitution.
Unity. It's an American thing. From AmericanThing.org.
Here's another I Love New York travel tip.
Bite into an apple you've just picked while taking in dazzling fall colors. Laugh with the kids as you wander your way through a maze of corn stalks. Ride in a horse-drawn wagon. Pick out the perfect pumpkin or pet a friendly farm animal. You'll find one of autumn's best experiences at a New York farm, farm stand, or farmer's market. With delicious fresh produce and opportunities for great family fun and adventure, it's an experience that can't be beat. And produce featuring the New York Grown and Certified logo assures you that you're getting the freshest, most wholesome and healthy fruits and vegetables. For more information and for more exciting fall activities, visit iloveny.com or dial 1-800-CALL-NYS. That's 1-800-CALL-New York State. Mouth-watering fresh produce and a whole lot more. New York State. Come be a part of it.
I'm a doctor, but I can't think clearly anymore.
I'm a runner. Now I can't walk 100 feet without getting exhausted.
Everything hurts. I can't even go out and play.
Up to 30% of COVID patients develop long COVID. Right now, there's no cure, little understanding, and one urgent question.
How long?
How long?
How long?
Until we solve long COVID. The Solve Long COVID initiative is bringing people together to find answers now. Go to solvelongcovid.org to learn more.
If you're 19 or older with certain underlying medical conditions such as asthma or diabetes, you can get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia, a potentially serious bacterial lung disease that can disrupt your life for weeks. If you're 65 or older, it is also recommended you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia, no matter the season. Talk to your doctor about vaccination today and learn more at lung.org/protectyourself. A message from the American Lung Association in collaboration with Pfizer.
Stress may feel like a constant and one that may lead to heart disease and stroke. But what if we focus on what we can control and turn those stressful minutes into our me time? Sometimes just taking a deep breath can make a difference. Or going on a short walk, maybe even taking a nap to recharge. Managing your stress means managing your health, so it's important to take back your moments. This is your me time. Own it. Learn more about reducing stress at heart.org/stress.
Welcome back to America's longest-running computer show, Sound Bytes, on member-supported Jazz 90.1. Get online now. Call 966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll-free 800-790-0415. Or submit your question by email at soundbytes.org. Once again, here's Nick Francesco, Dave Enright, and Steve Ray on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And it's 7 minutes after the hour. We are Soundbites, and we'll get back to Fred in a minute. But first, I want to thank all the people who've called in and pledged so far. I want to thank Fred and Brent and Dolores and Kevin and Lawrence and Kenneth and Harlan and Alan and Gordon and Greg. Thanks to each and every one of you for your generous donations. It's you folks who make this show possible and keep this station on the air. We are in the middle of a pledge drive, and it is you folks who keep this station on the air. There are fewer and fewer and fewer jazz stations left in the world. We're one of the few because of our loyal and generous listeners. And it is this station that took us in, us being Soundbites, that took us in and gave us a home. And all they ask is that a couple of times a year, we reciprocate and appreciate what they've done by opening up our wallets as they opened up their home to us. So please, head on over. You can give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free, 1-800-790-0415. Or better yet, for all you computer geeks out there in the world, from your desktop, laptop, tablet, or phone, you can pledge securely online at jazz901.org. And while you do that, we'll go back to Fred from Rochester. Hiya, Fred. Still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Excellent. Steve looked up
pCloud Android.
pCloud Android.
And basically, all the FAQs were how do I copy this file and how do I share that file. There didn't seem to be anything about setting up synchronization.
Right. I mean, it's everything I found in Googling it and YouTubing it and whatever. I'll talk about videos and photos, which I've got that set up, but that's not my main purpose. My main purpose is to get all my legal stuff or whatever that I get it all into that spot.
So you can share files, but it has to be on that. It has to be on some file sharing service first, either pCloud's own storage drive or a compatible attached storage drive like Google Drive.
Yeah. The other thing is I can't select more than one file at a time. So if I go into a folder that I have for financial, and I have several different folders under that folder, and I've added a new account or information. I'm trying to do everything electronically and get rid of the paper mess.
Sure.
And then back it up to, as you say, at least a couple different places.
There is an automatic upload setting that you should be able to turn on in settings.
Yep.
So then you don't have to manually open each one separately.
Yeah, it's got in the automatic upload. It says the only thing I have is.
But it does say photos and videos. It doesn't say documents.
Yeah. But you can. Are you unable to select multiple files on anything?
I can't select the whole folder. I can select. Right now, I'm just selecting one file at a time. But if I go to Samsung, one of the options when you go to upload, if I'm looking at files in pCloud, and I click the plus button and I say upload file, it shows me current things, or where I've been last, and depending on when I open it.
Right.
And then I can select, but I can select, if I select my SD card, and I go to, and I go to the documents, and I go to the folder, I can't select the folder. I can select files in the folder, open the folder, then select, and select.
Normally, when you're on an Android, if you see a list of files, you press and hold on one until you see a check mark.
Right. Got nothing on a folder to do that. I can do that on a file, but not on a folder.
Is there a little more ellipsis 3-dot button?
Yep.
That might have a select all?
It gives me it's a select all, but not. I don't want to select, and it does 39 things that are selected. I don't want 39 things. I want just that folder.
We'll go into the folder and select all the things.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it.
Then I have to create a folder to move it. Then I have to find it in pCloud and then move it to that folder.
Right. I understand the problem. I just don't. I don't know that there's a solution to it.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot easier in Google Drive because I can select where it gets moved to. I can select how much I want to move.
Right.
But I didn't know if there was maybe a third-party app that gave me that option.
I mean, you should be able to do what you want to do in the folder app on Android.
Okay, so I've got my Samsung file manager.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. There's multiple Samsung, and the same problem with Motorola. They have their own set of apps, which are just not as good as the Google ones. If you use the Google File app, one of your choices should be that you could select a folder and then copy it to pCloud. But I don't have a Samsung phone, so I don't know how I would do that on Samsung.
Right. Well, I've got both file managers. Go to browse.
I do. I'm sorry. Yeah, we've got people waiting online. Yeah. I beg your pardon. I can't.
Yep. Yeah, that's. I don't see that option in the Google File Manager either. So.
Well, you should be able to click on the folder and then say copy, and then pick your destination.
Copy and paste, not move or send or share.
Yeah, you should be able to copy and paste or share. I mean, try them all. But we gotta move on. I'm sorry, Fred.
Right, thanks, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. Sorry about that. We've got other people waiting on the line, and.
But that does remind me, you had a question last week about a slide scanner you can't find drivers for.
Right.
There's a third-party program called ViewScan.
There you go.
And they have reverse engineered 7,000 scanners.
Is that all?
Mac, Windows, and Linux.
Nice.
VUESCAN.
Nice. You stick that in the...
Yep, so you can maybe find a driver for that scanner.
Yeah, there you go. Back to the phones. Our next caller is Ed from Henrietta, New York. Hi, Ed. What's up?
Hi, I want to ask you, gentlemen's advice. I just didn't know that they had a device, a hotspot that you could buy. I saw a couple of things. I saw one at that Straight Talk sells at Walmart for $49, and then I got on the web and I see one that Verizon sells for $199, and I didn't know the difference. And I wondered this specific question: if you've got some gigs already in your phone allocated to, say, a second-party device like a Chromebook, after that runs out, would the separate device hotspot that you buy automatically, if it's plugged in, et cetera, take over and pick
Not
up
automatically.
Yeah,
no.
the short answer is no. You use one or the other. And if you already have a cell phone that has a hotspot feature in them, and most do, then you don't need to buy a standalone hotspot.
No, but right, exactly. But
Right.
see, I've only got 50. I found out I'm not recently. I only got 15 gigs allocated to, say, like for example, the Chromebook. And once the 15's up, the Chromebook stops. So you think it's the Chromebook, but it's not.
Well, then you can buy more gigs from your carrier. That would probably be a lot cheaper than buying a second carrier plan for more gigs. And that could be the difference between the Verizon one and the Straight Talk one, is the Verizon one comes with a higher data plan than the Straight Talk one does. Because basically a hotspot is a cell phone you can't make phone calls on. And so it has its own data plan, and you have to buy the gigs for that hotspot device itself.
Oh, right, yeah, because they've got a $15, $25, blah, 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 for 2 gigs, 4 gigs, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
But in terms of logistics, I wondered, though, if, as I say, if you get to the 15 and your phone just stops sending, or the Chromebook stuff stops, would you then, or could you then plug in the hotspot device that you purchased, and then would that track right to the Chromebook, and what you were doing would continue?
Yeah, you'd have to tell the Chromebook to join this other Wi-Fi network instead of this first Wi-Fi network. We're joining the second one.
Yeah, because I don't think, I'll check, that's a good point. I don't think that they sell, I get it through Straight Talk, and they rent stuff from Verizon. I don't think that they sell cards specifically for hotspots. They do, but I think you have to use this device as well in order to make that thing function. I think that's one problem. And I didn't know why. I didn't know why the differential would be $49 versus the all the bells and whistles that you see on the Verizon. They had Verizon, T-Mobile, and they put here's the best hotspots to buy, and they have a lot of stuff on there that I think it's overkill.
Right. But you may want to check into what it would cost to get additional data on your current phone, so you don't need to buy a whole separate device.
No, I do have unlimited data now. So, and hidden in there, I just found out about. I used to cast it always, or tether my Chromebook to it, and then I just found out recently that after you get to 15 gig, it's bye.
Right. So see how much it would be to add more.
Yeah,
that might be cheaper than a whole separate device.
You may not be limited to 15 gig. You may be able to up your plan to 25 or 30 gig.
Oh, you mean within the unlimited? I see what you're saying.
If you have unlimited, you don't have to add anything for anything.
It's unlimited for the phone, but not unlimited hotspot data.
Right.
So,
exactly.
But you may be able to add additional hotspot data to your current plan,
right?
And that may be cheaper than getting a completely separate device with its own plan.
Right. But if you do elect to get a device, I just wonder about the logistics. Say for example your phone stops and you're out of data, then you have to reprogram or tell the phone or tell the hotspot to go connect like you would originally?
Yes.
Neither. You tell the computer, the Chromebook, to join the other Wi-Fi address.
You have to turn on your hotspot and let it connect to the network.
Right.
That provides you with a brand new Wi-Fi modem, essentially.
Gotcha.
You then tell the Chromebook, get off the phone Wi-Fi and get on the hotspot Wi-Fi.
Now, is the hotspot secure? Would you have to, like a router, put in a special PIN number, all that kind of stuff, or is that really secure?
It depends entirely on which hotspot you get and what its features are.
And most of the time, your data is encrypted on your device before it goes out over cellular anyway.
Right. Now, for example, on my phone, I can turn on a hotspot with a password.
Right. Yep.
And I suspect you can do the same thing when you set up the hotspot, the device.
Yeah, they have one. And you're correct. You're right. Yeah, there's an internal one. Just plug in. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, so that's what you would do.
I gotcha. Okay, that's what we're plugging into. Yeah, I didn't know if there's any downside in terms of security, et cetera, because of the price differential, or just the one that.
No, they're pretty much exactly the same as doing it through your phone.
A lot of more, gigs and exotic stuff, but per land and bandwidth, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And you said you were on Straight Talk for your original hotspot phone?
Yeah, they rent stuff from Verizon. Yeah.
I'm seeing on their website that they have additional hotspot data that you can buy.
Okay, good.
And again, that might be cheaper.
Oh, yeah, I hear you there. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Thanks. Yep. Thanks, Ed. Yeah, and we're in a pledge drive. And I want to, again, thank all the generous people that I've already mentioned. I would like to add Susan to that. Thank you, Susan, for your very generous donation. These are the folks who've stepped up to be part of the Soundbites family here within the greater Jazz 90.1 family. And now it's your turn. Easy enough to do. You can give us a call at 585-966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299, or toll free at 1-800-790-0415, or even better, you can pledge securely online at jazz901.org. There's this enormous Donate Now button in bright red. Just click on it and you're on your way. You put in your information. Make sure, scroll down, make sure you're pledging at one of the levels for Soundbites. You'll find them in that list. And you can see the various things that you can get for your pledge. We're finding a lot of people are very excited about the 2 membership card levels. That membership card is man, you will make your money back over and over and over again if you go out at all, with any regularity. And people are loving that Soundbites wireless phone charger. Works with any Android or iPhone that does wireless charging. So you can just set your phone on it right on top of the gorgeous Soundbites logo, courtesy of Dave Enright. The only downside is it covers the logo while it's charging. But you know what? You can't have everything.
Yeah, but the phone isn't on it all the time. So you get to stare at it probably more times than it's not.
Right. And then and that gives you a pretty nice deal all the way around. So, excuse me. Check that out. It's jazz901.org, and you will find that you can get the membership level of your choice. And again, let me emphasize that you do not have to join at a level. You can just join with an amount.
Jazz-O-Matic.
Or you can easily do Jazz-O-Matic. Jazz-O-Matic says you pledge a certain amount a month. Say the minimum is $10. $10 a month, $15 a month, $20 a month, whatever it is. And then it's a smaller bite, but you get the pledge level of the aggregate. So if you pledge at $10 a month, you're at the $120 level. So that works out really quite nicely for everybody. We're very excited about the Jazz-O-Matic level. That gives you the opportunity. And, of course, you can stop it at any time if your financial situation changes. That's absolutely true. But in addition, it happens for a year. And at the end of that year, we stop. We hope you will pledge again. But at the end of that year, we stop. It's not an automatic renewal next year, whatever that's about. And we've heard horror stories of people who passed and their AOL kept taking money out every year, whatever. Yeah. We don't do that. It's a year. A year says a year, and you're done.
Yep. And you choose that under the please select the frequency of your donation. And the default is one time only. Thank you, Ray. We've heard plenty of horror stories about people that have donated money to some cause and don't see that monthly is checked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And auto renewal.
You think you're giving them $100 once? No, it's $100 a month.
Yeah, right.
So that's
in our case,
only.
it is a one-time only.
Right.
Is the default, but if you select monthly and say $10, $20, whatever the number is, then you can do the math. 12 months times whatever you gave. That's the amount. That's the amount you're giving. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Brian from Gates, New York. Hi, Brian. What's up? Brian? You there, Brian?
Hello?
Hello. Hi. Is this Brian from Gates?
Hello?
Turn your radio down.
Turn your radio down, Brian.
Now we got to wait for
There's a delay.
Yep.
There's a delay. Brian?
Hello?
Brian? I'm sorry, Brian. Call back once you've turned your radio off. We can't.
Yeah, people try to hear themselves while they're talking on the radio. It doesn't work. We're in a delay.
We have a delay, and that's an FCC mandate, I believe, and so
these signals are bouncing all over the world into the satellites. Light doesn't travel instantly.
Right. We see that problem on video chats.
Yeah.
People have done video chats where they played music together or sang together. Well, guess what? Sometimes there's a delay.
Always there's a delay.
Yeah. Always there's a delay.
Especially if you're trying to play instruments together. Even a half a second delay is really noticeable.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of horrible. But you can synchronize if you're real close to each other. But most of the time, people aren't real close to each other, and so that happens. And on the radio, we have a delay on purpose. Delay, what is it? 8 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever the number is. And consequently, if you're trying to listen to the phone at the same time that you're trying to talk on the phone, you are going to
the radio.
be.
So if you're listening to the radio and trying to talk on the phone, you're hearing us on the phone 10 seconds before the radio. So if you're just listening to the radio and we say hello, that was 10 seconds ago.
Right. Okay. Is this Brian again?
It is.
Yep.
Hi, Brian. Are you back?
I am back, and my radio is off. I'm sorry. It just I'm in the car waiting, and it just automatically connected. My apologies.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. Okay, what's up?
Well, I have a real sort of quick question. I'm retired. I'm looking for a new laptop. I don't need it for the spreadsheet work and all of that sort of thing that I used to, not real intensive. I have a Mac, but it's about 180 million years old at this point. Can't update the OS anymore, that sort of thing.
Chrome OS.
And I'm considering nice but not too high-powered Mac versus a Chromebook, and I'm looking for some general advice about which to pursue.
Okay,
Boy, that's a religious question.
Yeah, the religious question. All right,
but you can have the best of both worlds.
Me an agnostic.
Yeah.
Right. Here's the deal. All these machines are good. So if I say something is better than something else, it's for that one tiny little thing. So don't call me. But I'll get started. We're probably going to have to cut for a break.
Okay.
But we'll stay on the line and we'll get back to you. So here's the deal. We'll start with a Chromebook. Chromebooks are designed to work via the cloud. So you don't need a lot of disk storage. You don't need a lot of speed. You don't need a lot more than 4 gig of RAM, generally, depending on what it is you want to do. So you have a less expensive machine, which is enough for the average user.
Okay.
Right? So if all you're doing is surfing the web and looking at your email and all of that stuff, Chromebook will more than satisfy your needs. You can also do, if you get the 8 gig models, 8 gig of RAM and 32 gig of disk space, you have plenty of space and power and time to run all the Chrome OS apps and all the Android apps and Linux. So there's plenty of stuff that you can do. And we'll leave you to contemplate that When we come back, Steve will tell you about the Mac side of things. But we're going to take a quick break. Just a couple of minutes. We'll be back with Dave Enright, Steve Ray, me, Nick Francesco, Brian from Gates, and you. It is 29 minutes after the hour. You're listening to Sound Bites on Member Supported. Wouldn't this be a great time to make your pledge? Member Supported, Jazz 90.1. Be right back.
It's America's longest-running computer show. Back to more Sound Bites with Nick, Dave, and Steve. Next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
NBC News Radio, I'm Dina Kodiak. The White House is defending President Biden's comment about the possibility of a nuclear Armageddon. On Air Force One Friday, Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said America's nuclear posture hasn't changed. She added that there are no indications that Russia will use such weapons. New evidence in the Oath Keepers trial shows the founder of the right-wing militia spoke of bloody war ahead of the U.S. Capitol attack. Prosecutors in the trial of 5 members of the group showed the jury evidence of the language being used by Stuart Rhodes to his followers before last year's Capitol riot. Rhodes encouraged using force and urged Trump to use the 19th Century Insurrection Act, which would allow him to deploy troops. Authorities say 3 people have been shot outside of a high school football game in Toledo. Sean Gallagher with more details.
A Whitmer High School student and 2 adults were hospitalized and are expected to recover. Shots were fired just outside of Whitmer's football stadium as they took on Central Catholic Friday night. Police have 2 people in custody and were looking for 2 others who may be connected to the shooting.
Dina Kodiak, NBC News Radio.
Its beauty and health benefits have increased the popularity of both the edible and ornamental kale. The color and texture of kale blends nicely with mums, asters, ornamental grasses, and other cool season favorites. Hi, I'm Melinda Myers, horticulturist and gardening expert. Use kale as a vertical accent in containers, as part of a fall garden display, or as a filler in the garden. This plant flourishes in the cooler temperatures, tolerates frost, and once established can survive even single-digit temperatures. Combine kale with cool weather-tolerant annuals like pansies, dianthus, sweet alyssum, and stocks, or edibles like Swiss chard, colorful lettuce, and bull's blood beets. Although ornamental kale is edible, you'll get the best flavor from varieties sold for their edibility, not their beauty. Red boar and a few other edible kales are both beautiful and tasty. Check the label to be sure you get the look and flavor you desire. Check out our website for this and other gardening tips.
Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by our members and by the great courses How to Grow Anything DVD series hosted by Melinda Myers. The Great Courses How to Grow Anything series consists of 4 DVD courses that provide gardening tips and information on food gardening, landscape design and care, container gardening, flower, tree, and shrub care, and more. More information is available at melindamyers.com. That's melindamyers.com.
Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by melindamyers.com, dedicated to helping people have fun and be successful in their gardens. Information and videos on landscape design, vegetable gardening, attracting birds and butterflies, planting guides, plant profiles, and eco-friendly gardening techniques are at melindamyers.com.
With love I will build a wonderful thing that makes this life better for you and for me.
Shriners Hospitals for Children has been creating wonderful opportunities for children in need. This life-changing medical care helps them do the things they've always dreamed of. To find out more, go to loveshriners.org.
And now, a check of your Jazz 90.1 weather forecast.
Quintessential fall for all of western New York and the Finger Lakes this weekend, with temperatures well below average. The month of October so far averaging nearly 6 degrees below normal each day for Rochester. Lake-induced clouds early in the day will give way to increasing amounts of sunshine for your Saturday. The high temperature only into the low 50s. We'll look for patchy clouds and starlight for Saturday night. The overnight low temperature into the upper 30s south of Thruway, low 40s Rochester. Mostly sunny Sunday, highs in the upper 50s. I'm meteorologist Josh Nichols for Jazz 90.1.
And currently right now we've got partly cloudy skies, 50 degrees out at the airport and 57 here at member-supported Jazz 90.1. No. Oh, wait a minute. Let's try this.
Hi, this is Otto Bruno. Join me tomorrow from 12 to 2 on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Button done stuck.
Yeah, you stick with that story. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I got control of the board.
That's
Dave
right.
Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray. I'm just stuck in the middle.
And at
Yes, you are.
34 minutes after the hour, we are Sound Bites. We are in the middle of a pledge drive, so make that pledge. Head on over to jazz901.org. Make that pledge a gigantic, bright red Donate Now button. It's really hard to miss. Make that pledge right now while we talk to Brian from Gates, New York. You still there, Brian?
I am.
And we talked about the Chromebook, and now Steve will tell you why you should get a Mac instead.
Well, I was going to say one thing you could try is loading Chrome OS Flex on your old Mac.
That's right.
That's a great way to revitalize an old computer that isn't supported by the original manufacturer anymore. Nick did a presentation at Apple Cider.
Brilliant presentation, I might add.
Yeah. That should be on our YouTube channel.
Okay.
As hard as that was. But so that's an option to do it. So if what we're also seeing a lot of people do is similar to the way Chromebook works. I hate saying if all you're doing is web and email, because that's important stuff to do.
That's mostly what people do.
You could even do it with an iPad, and a lot of people like the iPad as being very small, very light. We sometimes call it the living room computer. And if you want to add a keyboard to it, you can. We had talked earlier to a caller, the MacBook Air at $999 is a super fast computer, much faster than a lot of even higher priced Intel models. We're now seeing Intel trying to scramble to make an SoC that will compete, and with the full keyboard as well. But a lot of people like that touchscreen option. The tricky thing about having a tablet with a touchscreen and then a computer with not is you keep trying to touch your computer screen.
Yes, absolutely true.
Yeah.
But if all you're doing, and again, Steve is right, it's not all, but if what you're doing is email, web browsing, that kind of stuff, some light document stuff that you can do through Google Docs or iCloud or whatever, iWork, whatever they call it, all of that stuff. You don't need a fast machine, and honestly, you don't need a new machine. If your current Mac still works,
right,
you can still surf the web, you can still do your email, particularly if it's an online service like Gmail.
Right.
You can use Google Drive or iCloud or any one of those, iDrive, to do your light other work. And, as long as that machine keeps booting up, you're still good to go.
So the one thing that I do want to be able to do is still do, documents. Right now we have Word and Excel loaded on the Mac, and I'd like to be able to maintain that or migrate to Google Docs. And I'm wondering about those applications and how comparable they are.
Yeah, you can use Word and Excel itself on a Mac or on an iPad, but moving to Chromebook, you'd have to convert them to Google Docs.
Right.
Because they don't run the Microsoft apps.
It depends on what you do, right? And nobody can tell you what that is but you. However, the beauty is, right now on your Mac, you could sign on to Google Docs and use it.
Yeah.
And see what it does. The other thing I would suggest is when you set up Google Docs, in the settings, one of the choices is to convert documents when you upload them.
Uh-huh.
If you do that, currently at least, Google gives you 15 gig of disk space, but documents in their format don't count against that 15 gig.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So if you convert them as you upload them, they take zero space essentially. So I've got well over 20,000 documents. I'm only using 3 gig of my disk space.
Wow. Okay.
Because I've let the word processing documents and the spreadsheets and everything else I can convert to Google's format.
Right. One of the really appealing features of the Chromebook, obviously, is its price.
Right.
Is there something in the MacBook line without, I don't need a terabyte of memory, and I don't need a huge amount of RAM. I might watch a video or play a movie or something like that, but I'm not gaming. I'm not doing any of that stuff. Is there something in the MacBook line that would meet those needs and maybe not be quite as inexpensive as the Chromebook, but less expensive than a beefier MacBook?
Yeah, the MacBook Air is
Okay.
the entry level. It's got 8 gigs of RAM and 256 storage for $999. Or you can move into a 10-inch iPad for $329.
Okay.
With 64 gigs of storage. So that would be the most directly comparable to a Chromebook.
Okay.
You would have to add. You might want to add.
You might want to add a keyboard. Yeah.
That's what, 100, $150.
Well, as low as $30, $40 for a standalone keyboard. If you already have a wireless keyboard with your current Mac, you can use that same keyboard with your iPad. It's any Bluetooth device. So even if it's a PC keyboard, any Bluetooth keyboard will work with it.
Will it also accept a small monitor? If I wanted a little bit larger.
Any size monitor you want.
Right.
Yeah, plug into the Lightning port.
You need to buy the
cable
converter
adapter.
cable.
Yeah, Lightning to VGA, Lightning to HDMI, whatever your monitor has on it.
Right.
Or if you want, you can do wireless AirPlay if you have an Apple TV box or a Chromecast box. You can wirelessly send the video to your television.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. The other thing is, look, what makes a Chromebook convenient is the fact that it is a laptop form factor.
Right.
You can turn an iPad into a laptop form factor with the right keyboard case connection.
Yeah. So
thing.
right now, let's see here. I have a Zag. I can see that. I have a Zag keyboard, a light-up keyboard I liked.
Yeah.
And that was $60, I think. And then the whole thing folds down into a little case when you want to carry it. And if you want, the iPad comes out, and you can carry it separately. And it's even got a thing on the top to put a pencil on it if you want to get a pencil for doing drawing.
So another quick question: if I decide to go with the MacBook Air, I'm not far from Victor. I live not far from Victor. I actually was in Gates, but live not far from Victor. If I were to go to, there's a Mac store out there, Mac Avenue in Victor.
That happens to be where I work.
Oh.
That's my day job.
Do I have to call and make an appointment to come in? And,
No. No, we request people make appointments to drop off things for service, but for sales and picking up stuff, that's no problem.
Good. You answered all my questions, and I really appreciate the advice and the time, and great supporter of Jazz 90.1 and your program. I started listening years ago on WXXI when Bob Smith was still involved.
The great Bob Smith.
We miss him.
Yeah. Wonderful guy. I knew him and had several interactions with him over time. Salt of the earth kind of guy.
Yeah, he really was.
Thanks a lot, guys. And I'll be over to Mac Avenue this week.
All right, thanks, Brian.
Sounds good.
Take care. Have a great day, guys.
You too. Bye-bye. Yeah, there are a lot of advantages one way or the other.
And it does help to stick with the platform you're already familiar with.
Right.
Even though, it's for some people it's easy to switch back and forth, and for other people it's horrible, because on the Mac the close button's on the left, and on Windows it's on the right. What is it on a Chromebook?
On the
right.
Right, just like it is there. On Linux, however, you can set it however you want.
Yeah. So Linux is kind of the ultimate customizable.
Oh boy, is it!
You can do anything you want with Linux.
Right.
Yeah, we joked that when Microsoft copied the Macintosh in 1983,
right,
they intentionally made things backwards so they wouldn't get sued.
They do that even in programming.
Yeah.
I went to when we first started programming. I worked at a company a long time ago. When we first started programming for the Mac, we went to look at. We went to a training session, and we could say, "Oh yeah, this thing is exactly like this one, exactly like this one, exactly this one," only the parameters are reversed.
From and to instead of to and from.
Exactly, the same idea. It was just ridiculous. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Jim from Rochester, New York. What's up, Jim?
How you doing, Nick?
Peachy, how are you?
Very good. Look, I'm an old computer guy, old Mac guy. I have a G5, the Tower days, okay, where you had slots, you could add some RAM, you could add some speed, megahertz, and I've just about tapped out because the software is so complex now with Adobe. There's a suite of different design, graphic designs that you can do. And what's your recommendation on getting a new Mac? Obviously, with the new software that Adobe has developed, because it's much more complicated than what the old G4s and G5 could accommodate.
Yeah, so for doing higher end stuff like Photoshop and Illustrator, you may want to move up to the 14-inch MacBook Pro because it has more power to it, and an inch bigger screen doesn't hurt either.
Right.
Okay, now is that where the logic, where the hardware is designed in the screen? Because I guess I'm old-fashioned. I like to keep them separate in case.
Well, that was a laptop. If you're looking for a desktop, then the Mac Mini is the entry point in the desktop range, and that's just a computer, a little tiny 10-inch square box.
But
and then
very powerful.
Very powerful. With you can get with the M1 chip as well. And then you plug that into your existing keyboard, mouse, and monitor. It comes with an HDMI port on it, so you may need a cable adapter for whatever connection your monitor has.
GPS and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it can run all this, the modern apps in really high performance because of the M1.
And it does have USB
3, Thunderbolt 4, I think, ports on it. Yeah.
Now, what about the software? Because, Adobe keeps coming up with this exotic software in terms of graphic design, high-end for advertising, et cetera, et cetera.
They still have some of their low-end programs. There's Photoshop Elements and Premiere Elements for basic use, although the Photos and iMovie that come with the Mac are pretty similar to the Adobe low-end stuff. If you do want more power, you can move up to the Mac Studio, which is basically looks like 3 Mac Minis stacked on each other, with a significantly faster processor in the M1 Pro and M1 Max and M1 Ultra.
and what was the name of that?
That's the Mac Studio.
Mac Studio. Okay,
Yep.
Let me write that down. Now, is that Apple Store still going out? I know they had an Apple Store in Eastview Mall out there.
Yes, that Apple Store is there. And then there's an independent Apple-authorized reseller 2 miles down the road in Victor on Route 251. That's called Mac Ave, Macintosh Avenue, and that happens to be my day job where I work.
Okay, well, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me write this down because this sounds important. I'm going to have to go out there. Okay, you said that's Mac Ave?
Mac Ave, yep. Short for Macintosh Avenue. We wanted to be in the phone book under Mac.
Right, and you can see them on the web at mac-av.com.
Mac.av.com.
-av,
Okay,
Mac-av.
Down there on you said in Victor. What's that address?
It's 7716 Victor Menden Road.
7716 Victor
Menden Road.
Okay,
and it's Route
not
251
Route
off of 96.
Oh, it's off of 96.
Yeah.
Okay.
About a mile off of 96, about 2 miles from the mall. We used to have a store in the mall until Apple got the mall people to kick us out.
I understand. Well, I'll definitely stop by there because we're looking. We have to upgrade because the thing is crashing, and the software is so much more. See, we were around when a company called Mergenthaler goes right back to their genesis, go back to the printing press.
Right.
And we started with. It was amazing. We used to use Kodak film strips and lenses for the inside.
Yep.
The old days.
All right, Jim.
The old days, right?
Yeah, exactly. The really old days.
It's good to be able to talk to someone who has a historical memory of this because you can see the evolution of technology and really how far we've come. It's amazing, isn't it?
It really is, Jim. It really is. All right. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you, and take care and have a good weekend.
You too. Have fun. Yeah. Is that G5 an Intel device or is it?
PowerPC.
That's what I was about to say.
The G5 was the last PowerPC. We never saw a G6. That was the transition to Intel in what was that? 1984. No.
Yeah, see, quite a while ago.
Yeah.
That G5 is an old device.
Yeah.
I think you can still get a version of Linux that runs on PowerPC, but
There was Yellow Dog Linux for a while.
Yellow Dog was for a while,
PowerPC.
but I don't know that there even is one anymore. I'm sure you can get one, but it's not going to be.
So no, I bet. So 84 was the 68K to PowerPC. So about every 10 years, Apple has shifted their architecture drastically.
Right.
But they've always had a transitional machine that could do both. Right. So right now on the Apple Silicon, there's an internal technology called Rosetta 2 that translates all the Intel apps into Apple Silicon instructions. Because before that, we had Rosetta that translated the PowerPC apps into Intel instructions. So
Right.
there was that transitional period where you could take all of your PowerPC apps and move them to your new Intel computer.
I'm assuming they don't run as fast.
What we actually have seen, a lot of the Rosetta apps run faster than they did on the Intel
Interesting.
because the SoC is so darn fast.
Yeah, right.
Which is
Then they ran.
Then they
but
ran- right.
don't run as fast as a native.
as a native Apple Silicon, yes.
Right.
But you can take your old version, your Intel version of some program, put it into Rosetta on the new Apple Silicon, and it runs faster than it did on the Intel machine.
Yeah.
In fact, that was one of the sort of the jokes against Microsoft in the NT days. NT on PowerPC was so much faster than NT on Intel,
Right.
they killed it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is James from Rochester, New York. What's up, James?
Oh, hi, Nick. I'm a member.
Thank you.
A question for you. I have two laptops, but on my inexpensive Acer laptop, sometimes I'm reading like on the Democrat and Chronicle website, and I get through about 3/4 of the pages, and all of a sudden it stops and it gives me a message, not enough memory to open this page. Is there a way to clear out memory? I looked on my Acer laptop here, and it says 19.9 gigabytes free of 57.1.
Yeah, that's the hard drive, not memory.
Disk space. Yeah.
Right, that's disk space. Memory is 2 gig, 4 gig, somewhere in that range, 1 gig.
Is there a way to clean that up?
No, but what you can
restart.
do.
How much
Right.
how much memory is in the laptop to begin with?
Honestly, I don't even know.
If you go into the control panel, under system, under system, it will tell you how much memory you have, what type of processor you have, and what version of Windows you're running.
And you may be able to add more memory to the computer.
Because if it's only running 2 gig, of memory.
The other thing is, what else are you running at the same time you're trying to read that web page? So if you shut everything else down, you may have enough memory.
Yeah, I'm on the what you say what is it? The systems. Is that storage?
No.
I don't see.
There should be one called RAM or memory.
I'll have to look for
Yeah,
it.
you'll have to look for it. But the point is, if everything else is shut down and you're still getting that problem, what it sounds like is that there's just, probably an ad.
Yeah, taking
That's
up all the memory.
too huge.
What web browser are you using? Chrome or Firefox or Edge?
I think Edge.
Okay.
It's my inexpensive laptop.
Right. The simple fact is that one of the things that makes them inexpensive is they have far less RAM and a much smaller hard drive. And unless you change that or whatever,
Sounds like he's got a 64 gig hard drive.
Yeah.
That's been
I bought it a year and a half ago. Is that CCleaner program? Does that work for that?
No, nothing will give you more memory, but adding more physical memory.
Okay, so there's not a way to just close everything else down when I'm trying to.
That will give you the most memory. That will give you the most access to most of your memory, but it won't add memory to your machine.
Mm-hmm. The memory is called the RAM, is that correct?
Right.
Okay. Also, if I know there's a Google area where you can clean things up a little bit, and that's like the C Cleaner 2. Is that good to run now and then?
Once in a while, but that, again, none of that is going to give you more RAM.
Okay. Okay, thank you for the information.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
He may want to check his extensions list, because maybe he's got too many extensions installed, and each one of those runs up a little bit of memory.
Right.
Because Chrome has been notorious as a memory hog. For every tab that's open, it takes another gigabyte almost.
Right. So yeah, that shut down all your other tabs, shut down all your other programs. That will give you the most access to your memory. So again, nothing is going to add RAM, but you can at least get rid of everything else. You can think of RAM as your desktop, right?
Yeah.
So your desktop is only so big. The more stuff you have on your desktop, the less room you have for new stuff. So if you can clear off all the old stuff, then you've got the whole desktop for the new one thing.
You're not thinking three-dimensionally.
No, I'm not. And the analogy still works, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So shut up. We usually tell people you think of your hard drive as file cabinets.
Yep.
And your RAM as your desktop.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, you can't stack things on top of each other. You only have so much room on your desk, and everything has to sit on the desk.
And what the computer does is when it runs out of desk space, it'll throw some stuff in the file cabinet and then pull some stuff out of the file cabinet for the next thing you're doing.
Right. But that's
disk swapping.
Horribly slow.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just don't have enough RAM. Particularly, we've seen ads that are just enormous.
Yeah.
They're playing videos now and everything else, and it's way too... It's why I don't surf the web on my phone.
Mm-hmm. And that's sort of why most computers have now shifted to solid-state drives for their storage.
Right.
Because they're so much faster than spinning drives. But RAM is a lot faster yet.
Right.
But, so if you could make a RAM drive, that'd be really fast and really expensive.
Really expensive. But if you could, you would win.
Yeah.
We used to make RAM drives back when you only needed...
Back when it was more expensive, or cheaper than a physical hard drive to make a 2 gig RAM drive.
Right. And
you had all those quarter meg RAM cards that you pulled out of the machines you could fill into a RAM slot.
Exactly right. And of course, you didn't need a lot of space.
Yeah.
Because programs were tiny.
Yep. The OS, the application, and all your data files fit on one floppy disk.
That's exactly right. And left you room to spare.
Yeah.
But those days are completely gone. It's look, we've got about 30 seconds left. Let me remind you, please, you can still make that call and make that pledge. Pledge online, jazz901.org. Hit that giant red Donate Now button. And scroll down and make sure you credit Soundbytes. But you can pledge at any level you like. Think about the Jazz-O-Matic thing at $10 a month or more. It gives us a little more money, and it gives you a better benefit. So if you could do that, we would be really grateful. And again, you can pledge all week. So those of you listening to the podcast, and I know there are hundreds of you who do, please take the time to make that pledge at jazz901.org. As long as you credit Soundbytes, we'll know that and thank you on the air next week. You listen to us every single week. Please make the pledge to keep us on the air. We're done for this week. I want to thank Dave Enright, Steve Ray. I'm Nick Francesco. We'll be back next week with a whole lot more of the longest-running computer show in the known universe, Soundbytes on member-supported Jazz 90.1. We'll see you in just 166 hours. Be good to one another.
Here's another I Love New York travel tip.
Bite into an apple you've just picked.